Good day and welcome to this another edition of the Republican Debate. The Republican Debate on the Republican television with Republican panelists. And of course, we shall be discussing pertinent issues with our men that we have selected for today. I'll begin with him. They call him, of course, Hassan Sama. He is, of course, a conflict resolution expert. He is here with us. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm fine, Mr. Tabi. It's always a pleasure to be with you on Saturdays. I think that if you have invited me all this while, it is because I have something to offer, and I want to promise you and our listeners that I will do my best.
We always know that you will do your best. You always do your best anyway, Hassan Sama. Sitting here equally with us, we have, of course, Fabrice Lena. He is the Secretary General of the Popular Action Party, the PAP party, putting the people first. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well by the special grace of God. I want to greet all the viewers of Camten TV out there, and to the militants of the Popular Action Party, to John Dennis Tabe watching, National President of the Popular Action Party, to all our brothers and sisters in the Northwest and Southwest passing through difficult moments, and to all parliamentarians who are in the parliament and not doing anything to the problems that are preoccupying Cameroonians, that we are watching and wishing that you could do better. I want to send special greetings to Mr. Sama Hassan, an elderly person to whom I have high esteem for, and to my co-panelists, and to say that Mr. Tabi Clarkson, we are going to have a wonderful debate today to inform Cameroonians once more of issues that affect our country, to better put our territory and the people of Cameroon in harmony. Thank you very much for having me as your guest.
Thank you for coming, Fabrice Lena. Equally with us here, we have Mr. Full Godfrey of the CPDM party. He is coming from the communication unit of that political party. How are you today, sir?
Very fine, Mr. Tavi, and I'm very grateful to be here once more again today. And I have to greet all our televiewers outside there. And I think if we are here today, it's just to at least say something that will inspire and edify the Cameroonians who are scotched on this program. And I think all these Saturdays they have something to learn, and that's how Cameroon is going, because freedom of speech today is one of the things that Cameroon can jubilate.
Freedom of speech, one of the things that we can rejoice. And of course, before we tackle our first topic, I would like us to discuss the recent, I will start with you, Fabrice Lena, the recent re-election of Kaba Yege Jibril as the Speaker of the House of Assembly, and of course Nyat Jifenji as the President of the Senate. How do you look at it?
Yes, I want to be very clear on this. As a member of the Popular Action Party and militant, I want to tell Cameroonians, youth out there, that
no, it's Fabrice Lena. Yeah.
Yes, of course, Fabrice Lena. It's no news that Kavaye Jibril and Maxenia Difenji, who I prefer to remove the name honorable in front of their names because they don't deserve it. It has been desecrated in Cameroon, that we see people who at their very old age, when they are supposed to take care of their grand and great grandchildren, they are supposed to raise their bones, are fighting, or let's say torturing themselves to remain in institutions like the parliament. It's appalling, and I do see it as some sort of punishment for them. So what we drive home,
who is punishing who here?
What we drive home is that there is some sort of how can I put it? The executive arm of the government, legislative arm of the government, judicial arm of the government in Cameroon, all of them are governed by people above 75 years old. There is a question mark of some sort of pact or some sort of agreement among these people to hold Cameroon hostage till the last breath of their time on earth. It is unlikely in Cameroon to see people come to take over leadership, because when these are the same people who talk about cross-generational change, these are the same people who talk about giving power to the youth. But unfortunately, we come to see the same people recycling themselves at ages that they are supposed to be at their homes.
Maybe because they are there because of experience.
Now, when we talk of experience,
they have the experience.
It is not necessarily the best tool of management. And such people do not have monopoly of knowledge, monopoly of management, monopoly of power, monopoly of experience per se. And old people do not necessarily, you cannot talk of Nyan defending somebody who is barely walking, somebody who is barely talking, somebody who is barely carrying out political activities, whose mental capacity do not permit him to go to Google and search for what is happening in the world. Can he reply so many messages in different WhatsApp groups at a particular time? These are things we should ask ourselves. We are living the reality of 21st century society.
As a young man, you are disappointed.
I am very disappointed. Not only disappointed, but I am disappointed also to the young people who keep talking about being apolitical and seeing these old people holding our institutions and parliament hostage. I believe it is our time and responsibility to eject these people by some disposition within our
full go for you of the CPDM party. Kavayege Jibril is a CPDM militant. Nyat Jifenji is a CPDM militant. It's a good thing to be there to re-elect them. Full Godfrey.
When I hear a young man speaking, I ask myself, the African tradition, what has it become? They have always said, what an old man can see sitting down, a young man, even on top of a tree, can never see. Yes. Call these people as aged men. They cannot travel to the world. I said, yes, you can say that. You can say that. But you cannot see above what you are saying. Because I think somebody like Nyat Defendi, somebody like Kavayegi, does not even need to travel just, I don't know, the nearest country to see what is good for Cameroonians tomorrow. He does not even need to go a long way to know what is important for Cameroonians. Yes. My brother, you are free to say what you are saying. Others have said as like you have been saying. When they are near the person you are talking about, they saw in him a library. If not, I will tell you that we are talking about election. The president of the parliament was not nominated. He was voted. We are talking about re-election. You are talking about somebody who is just 2 days old in his post. Which simply means
are you serious when you say
Mr. Tabe, I'm saying
even
he is only 2 days old
that he has been re-elected.
His mandate. It is a new president of the National Assembly, only 2 days old. And the other things I will tell our televiewers outside there. We are talking about election. He was not appointed.
He was not appointed.
And CPDM is not the only party represented in the National Assembly. And the other party sees in him a somebody. No,
who can deliver
who can carry
the assembly,
the objective, who can carry their vision ahead.
So, the other members of the other political parties,
yes,
like the
SDF, PC, RRM,
yes,
PCRN, and all the other parties. There were people there who were younger, but they see into this man the person who can carry the vision, and they voted him as one. And
Kavayege
today we
Jibril,
can only rejoice.
Kavayege Jibril Anyat still in office. Is it a surprise to you?
No, Mr. David, it could never have been a surprise. I've listened to my two co-panelists speak. One person is full of exuberance of his age, which is normal. Another person is trying to maintain the status quo, still very normal. The man, my man of exuberance, Mr. Lennon, I want to thank him for his courage. But I equally want to remind him that during the elections at the National Assembly and the Senate, nobody stopped the youth from postulating the candidates. The internal rules of these two institutions says every person has a right to postulate as a candidate. And so I don't know who he is pouring his blame. Secondly, I want to tell him that he should be very careful sometimes in the quest of change. We could distort a lot of things. It is not always seen that one person in the National Assembly and one person in the Senate, that if they remove them, Cameroon has come to normalcy. No. There's a lot. Tentacles.
So having those two, it's normal. It's normal. It's a normal thing.
I think that what happened is that the President of the Republic, to whom the two laureates praised for being where they are, was just trying to maintain a stable country in a very turbulent water. We know very well where Cameroon is, and that to be able to touch certain sensitive areas, we may make terrible errors. That would be what I think is that we need change. True, but this change, we cannot blaming Mr. Kavayege Jibril Anyat for being president of Assembly and Senate respectively, because they have right to be candidates. Who do we want to replace them? Who are not there? If they are not there, how do they replace them? So I think that we go back to the foundation. How did we arrive there? We had them, the people that we don't want to see. How did we arrive there? We're already there. We will not, when you are in the pit, you will not remain in the pit weeping. What you should do is how to come out. And I want to think that we can come out of this situation in the nearest election that will be coming. I am in no way cautioning what is going on, but I have no powers to stop them. Yeah. So I think that, and then to my brother of the CPDM, I've always praised you guys for being able to stand the test of debates. Yes, but you see, sometimes when you look around and see what is happening in the so-called opposition political parties, you begin to ask questions. Which one is good? Is it what happened in SDF? Is it what happened in UDC? Is it what happened in PAP? Is it what happened there? Where do we go from here? We need a complete overhaul of the political landscape in Cameroon. And I will be appealing to the CPDM, the likes of Mr. Fru, that you people should change. When you change within, Cameroon will change.
When you change within, Cameroon will change. We shall tackle our first topic of the day with the collaboration of Mr. Ledoux. If everything is okay, if we can have the first topic, we are talking the public service. Lena, absenteeism in public service, bear orders for a civil service council. Do you think it's a good thing?
Well, if the President of the Republic orders for a civil council, you know, there are principles that govern civil service. And in Cameroon, what we notice is that the authorities in place at the level of the administration, at the level of the arms of the government, at the level of organization of the civil service and the form of state, do not permit for the principles of public service to be on the benefit of the people, on the common man. Why do I say so? When you look at the Cameroon civil service, the hyper concentration of power in Yaoundé, in the hands of one man, and the interconnectedness of public service in Cameroon, you drive home with one conclusion: Cameroon is a Jacobin state, where the decision is a pyramid from a single individual to the whole country, where if the decision is not taken, everything stands still. We talk of absenteeism of workers. GCAM released a report in 2018 publishing about 1,000 ghost workers in Cameroon, costing the government about 100 billion francs CFA. That is an amount of money that goes to pseudo accounts that people cannot account for. And secondly, what we know again about the public service in Cameroon is that people don't go there because of love for service to the people, but to make means end, to make ends meet. That is what people do. And what happened is that when people go there, is because of the way the system has been designed.
You are not a civil servant.
No.
You are not.
I am a citizen in Cameroon, living with civil servants, having civil servants as friends, brothers, sisters. I am in the capital city of the country. I understand exactly the mechanism, and I am a private sector worker following up documents in this country who knows how the system functions. When I go into a public service and someone is not on seat by 9 a.m. whereas the constitution and labor law stipulates that they are supposed to be there by 8 a.m. and what is accountable for all this? Because people have taken small offices given to them, big offices given to them as their private properties and institutions because of violation of Article 6 of our constitution, declaring assets and declaring working conditions. In Cameroon,
it's Article 66, I think so.
Yes. In Cameroon, it is a commonplace to go to the ministry and you come there and they tell you that the director general, the delegate, and this and so on is not available on work. It is a commonplace to go to a lycée, a government school, a public university, and the teacher in class or the professor is not there.
Is our civil service sick?
Of course. That's a very clear question, glaring to even a primary school child, not even to talk of secondary, to the higher level, or to some of us who are already in the society experiencing the reality of the life in Cameroon. Our public service is actually very, very sick. And this sickness comes from the first citizen of the country, who is so negligent, who does not go to even visit the citizens. Mr. Tabi Clason, my co-panelist said something that I want to recall to our people and the young people out there. Young people should not always fall into the trap of being cautioned and intimidated, of being youth and African culture. Those are absolute principles that do not hold in 21st century, because some of these old people have gray hairs that do not respect the principles.
Gray hairs today,
yes, do not even respect their own self as old people. So what we find out is that it is these people who have dragged us from this moment of prosperity to chaos to insecurity that we are finding in our country today. All this is because of bad governance of the CPDM regime led by the President of the Republic, who has been a bad president since he decided to.
We have heard you, Fabrice Lena. Maybe before we come to Mr. Full Godfrey. The time for us to have Hassan Sama. Hassan Sama, we are talking the public service today. Can we really say that the public service is sick? Because I know you are a civil servant.
If we are talking about public service being sick, it is tantamount to talking about Cameroon being sick, and that how to treat the issues of the public service is the same as how to treat corruption in Cameroon. What we should be thinking of in the public service is how to limit the case, how to reduce it. We cannot solve the problem because it's an endemic problem. It's not only, I will not want to use it only in Cameroon, because what is important to me is my country, Cameroon. Why should it be in Cameroon? What is happening is that as my co-panelist said, the Jacobin system that has been run in Cameroon is a system. It's a system of governance, presidentialist system, where everything is centered on one man. All these handicaps, we are bound to have them. And so, it is no use hearing that the public service is sick. But it is news to me to hear that the man who used to spend months in Switzerland, enjoying himself there, never working, is today wanting that they should resolve a problem that he is not an example. When I hear that they are calling for a committee or a commission to meet to decide to talk about the absenteeism in public service, the question I'm asking is when is it today that we have risen, we have awoken from a deep slumber, that we are now trying to see how we can resolve a problem that has been there for decades? And so my problem now is the question you ask: is this sick? It is sick, just like any other institution in Cameroon is sick. The first topic, the icebreaker that you brought, is sick. The public service is sick. We are all sick. And so, what do? We only have to give in the best that we can have to see where we can reach. But it is not that very easy, because examples should come from above. As long as the above has no example to show us, the public service will remain very, very sick till death do us part. Then the next thing is that I am very happy with the advent of the Sardinard. I don't really know that one in English. The Sardinard were a group of Cameroonians, patriots in the Western world, who decided that they would love to see their president remain at home, do things for the citizen that he was elected for. And for that reason, we have not seen the first citizen of Cameroon go out as usual, which is a good thing. And if he is asking that the council on
civil service
should meet, it may be thanks to the action of the Sardinard, who are made now to sit down and he has realized a lot of things. We should thank him for that. And we should thank the Sardinard for making that. But if it remains at the level of declarations, it will go the same way as all other declarations have made in Cameroon. We are praying. I will go back to Mr. Fru, who is more closer to power than I am. That let us not remain at the level of declarations. If we have made a point, if we have realized a problem, and we think that we want to propose solutions, let us do it the right way and follow up to see to it that we achieve the aim of which
the civil service is sick.
Like all other civil services, I think so.
Full Godfrey, is a civil service sick? Do you agree with that statement?
Zatabi, before I will come to that one, I want to just say a word to
Fabrice
Lena. You know, there are some sort of calamities that we observe today. Especially, I will talk about Africa because I'm not an European. There are some calamities that we observe today in our society that we don't even have to question, because when we hear somebody like Mr. Lena talking, you understand where our traditions are. Yes, they are grey hairs, but you should not compare grey hairs with grey hairs. They are grey hair, all of them are grey, but there are some who are grey because they have some sort of level, some sort of understanding in the society. And if we think that at that level we should just abandon them, those people who can't go and seek for intelligence, we can seek for knowledge, and we just abandon them, I will tell him that, please, if you are not a traditionalist, some of us will remain with our tradition and we respect our elders. Now, coming to the civil service, if the first Cameroonian, His Excellency President Paul Biya, have asked for a civil service council, at least it simply means he have seen something wrong there, and that's where we have to appreciate our president. Sometimes ago, some of you will say, if you want to be a civil servant, you must be from this or from that party. And when you see the head of state, who himself belongs to a party, taking a decision, it simply means
he belongs to the CPDM.
He have discovered
of the CPDM
that there is something going wrong. And at this level, that's where you can see that President Paul Biya is a humanitarian. He is somebody who feels for his population,
who loves the people.
Somebody who loves his people. He is there to serve his citizens. And at certain level, he stopped and said, no, nonsense should stop. You know, civil servant, civil service, somebody said in the English system, that's the appellation is the right one. Civil service, you are there to serve the citizens, the civilians, and you have to do your service without waiting for.
You have to go to job by
the time
by 8 a.m. you are in the office.
Yes,
and you leave the office by 6 p.m. or 4 p.m.
And when you see the president,
but today we know that some civil servants go to work at 11 a.m. and by midday they are back home, which is not normal, Mr. Anglophone.
No, it's very true. What you are saying is very true. People like Mr. Lena will cry and shout and criticize. Tomorrow, when he will be appointed in one ministry, he will be the one to go to work at 2 o'clock. And when the president reacts, they see into it a problem. They see into it something that was not supposed to. This is a decision that was supposed to be, I don't know.
We have to applaud it.
We have to applaud it because that's a sign. That's a sign that the president is listening to the people. At first, people shouted, no, every day the president is out, every day the president is there. But now he is there. Which simply means sometimes when you, his children, when you are crying, he listens to your cry. When people complain that sometimes when you go to some offices, you will not meet the people you are supposed to meet there, he is listening. And when he reacts today, I think we have to applaud.
So it's a good thing taking that decision to call for a civil service council. A while ago you were talking, and then Lena Fabrice wanted to react. Lena,
Yeah, I was patient enough because, you know, we are gentlemen and we have to be patient enough to listen to one another. But I'm not very patient to listen to rubbish. You know, my brother cannot be saying that when I'll be appointed minister or whatsoever, you know. They have this mindset of a certain form of governance that they have mystified leadership. They believe that someone to be at a leadership position must be a privilege, must be an appointment, must be behaving arrogantly. This is the reason why the Popular Action Party proposes a federal system of governance that will take power from the central government to local authorities and political actors voted by the people, accountable to the people, will check into the public activities of the people and people working under their jurisdiction to make sure that they give reports daily, weekly, monthly, yearly on their activities. And those who are recalcitrant or coming to drag the public service behind will be punished accordingly. This is not possible with the present dispensation and disposition of the concentration of power, of whatsoever they call decentralization that is not effective or even in practice. He goes on saying that we should appreciate the president. So we will clap for the president for staying in power for 38 years and realizing after 38 years that his own public service is not functioning well to call for a civil service council meeting.
But is it not a good thing? Is it not better to be late than never?
No.
There
is a certain delayance that is dangerous to the life of citizens. 38 years is too much for you to take decisions thereafter. There are many people who have died below 38 years, Mr. Tabby Clarkson. And you have to take into consideration that if God has accorded you long life, it has not accorded to every family or everybody. And you have to take that into cognizance. You cannot be leading people as if you were leading your private family. Mr. Full Godfrey should be aware that I do not, even at my own little leadership position in my political party, in my institution, tolerate this kind of actions of indiscipline that exist in the Cameroon government. If we are seeing the level of social delinquency, moral decadence, indiscipline existing among youth in Cameroon, is because we have a very, very indisciplined administrators who are the very first people to break laws, rules that are stipulated in books, canons, constitution that govern the country. And how do they respect the citizens? Respect these laws?
You say we should not applaud the decision of the president, but it's important to say that it's better late than never.
Mr. Atami Klaso, I am not someone who should go clapping for mediocrity. I am not the kind of person that should go. Cameroon is a very, very blessed country, but the ego of men have turned our country upside down. Mr. Atabi Clauson, allow me to express myself.
No, I
want to tell Mr. Frugoffrey to take this to say, no, let him take this to CPDM Central Committee and tell them that what they are doing to Cameroonians, what they are doing to Cameroonians, Cameroonians are judging, and we, the young generation Cameroonians, shall not tolerate this their excesses of mismanaging state resources in the name of always clapping.
Allow full Godfrey to pay before we take
the government.
We have heard you. Allow full Godfrey before we take our time.
Just 1 minute.
Yeah. We even give you 2 minutes.
Yes, it's not even shouting that will make.
No, it's not an issue of shouting. That's my tone of talking.
Yes,
Thank you very much.
Yes, and I want to remind you that President Paul Biya has ever been elected in his post. When they say elected, it means it's a president chosen by Cameroonians.
Chosen by the people.
3% of Cameroonians who voted in 2018.
So when you are talking about,
please allow him to talk.
When you are talking about an elected president, just know that when you talk anyhow, you carry Cameroonians on your head.
Of course.
And I don't like that. So what I want to tell you is that, you know, sometimes you may shout like this. PAP is a party that
registered in Cameroon.
Yes, register.
Legally recognized.
Yes, register. Not all the teams
And
that
also
are not
vying for power.
Yes, not all the teams that are registered for Cameroon championships can even play, even a match, even in the village. And that's what
Football and politics are quite different. Thank you
yes,
very much.
maybe at the level of politics, if you people register to play politics or to make politics and you are unable, you can only shout as
No, we
you
cannot
can
do
shout.
belly politics.
No, you can only
We cannot
shout
do
as you
stomach
can
politics.
shout. To talk about an elected president, somebody who have been elected at 72 point something
Yes.
percent
By who?
by Cameroonians.
How many
So when
percent?
you are talking, know that you are talking
How many percent of
about a
Cameroonians?
president who have been elected,
Do you know the population
who
of
is
Cameroon
listening to
in
Cameroonians,
2021?
and when he take a saluted decision, you can just cherish it. But at the end of the day, we don't even understand what you want, because when they said this thing is not functioning.
No, we want that the president should resign. He has overstayed in power and he's dragging Cameroon.
Please, Allah,
to the
Let
Allah,
me tell you
Allah,
something.
Allah,
Let me
Allah,
tell you
Allah.
something.
Full Godfrey.
Sometimes,
Full Godfrey, have the mic.
sometimes I laugh because I ask myself, this is a party who want a power. So the day the Cameroonians will decided that we decide that PAP, you are the one on power, and we just wake up one morning and you resign.
Of course.
Please, you are not doing a good politics or in good publicity about your party, because to govern is a challenge.
Is the
And-
PAP not a good party?
No, you hear the way he's saying.
No, you are
because
just you are just being subjective and
President
only limited
His
to your
Excellency
mindset.
President Paul Biya have been elected by Cameroonians.
Yeah, elected by
And
President.
he is not there because he won. He is there because Cameroonians want
And
him
it's
to be
8 years
there.
old.
You understand?
Nobody
and just imagine
nobody
that,
argues that, Full
yes,
Godfrey.
and just imagine that one morning.
Full Godfrey.
Yes,
Full Godfrey.
yes, I'm understanding.
Nobody argues that.
Yes,
But
and one-
let's come back to the topic.
No, just
Don't
imagine that
shout,
one
don't shout,
morning.
talk slowly.
Yeah,
Let-
just-
They have given you
Yes.
the chance to talk.
Yes.
Let's come back to the topic.
Yes,
we are
just-
talking the civil service.
Yes, no.
It is a good thing for the president to order for
I
the
said
civil service council.
no. I was still coming to that. To say that
No, go to that straight away.
His Excellency President Paul Biya, he carry all Cameroonians on his head, and when he's saying something,
Not
he's not
including-
saying as the president of a party, but as the president of Cameroon, who they have to look for that's the good living of Cameroonians, not
So-
like
So the good living is the electricity that is going off and on in Cameroon? In
We are not
Yaoundé?
talking
No, we
about
are-
civil
We are not here to
service.
talk electricity.
All right,
There will
thank
be a
you.
day for that. A day for
You
another debate.
understand? But I just believe that the way the PAP people are talking, it seems as if tomorrow you people make an error to vote them, they will resign.
So voting the PAP will be a mistake.
It will be a mistake.
That's what you are saying. It's
Yes.
not tabi. Okay, Mr. Hassan Sama, we have been following Fabrice Lena and of course a Full Godfrey. What is your reaction? Do you think finally that we need to applaud the president for calling the civil service council?
Yeah, the first thing is I want to salute the debate that has taken place between two politicians. You know, it is said that only those who believe in them take them serious, because each of them will tell you what he will do when he will in power. But until you are in power, then the realities come to yourself. I find them they're idealists. Talk of what does not exist. If you want that the state of Cameroon should be what you want, we will not have it because we are human beings. We have all the ups and downs and we have to correct them. As I earlier said, once in a hole, stop questioning how you got there. Try to see how you come out of it. When Lennon is chastising and lampooning the regime in place, as a civil society, I will tell Lennon that there's a way out.
There is a way out.
We're already inside. But inside the situation is bad. We should think of how to come out of the bad situation.
The situation is bad.
It's bad. That we come out of the bad situation.
And that is why the president called for the civil service council. Yeah.
When Lena decided to disrespect gray hair, I will call him back
to order
that until your old father, who is 90 years, dies, then we will know that cripple, or your father who was just lying there, you were even angry that why is the man not dying? Well, until he dies before you know how important that man was. I'm in no way condoning gerontocrats at the helm of Cameroon. They are there. What do we do?
The gray hairs are important. That's what I say.
We don't even question gray hair. When your father tells you that don't marry this lady, stop telling her about love. You don't know about love. You know more than you.
No, that is dogma.
You call it dogma. How do you explain that? How do you explain that? Sorry to take you out. How do you explain that? After dating a woman for 10 years, you get married 6 months, there's divorce. When your father never even knew the wife until the day they brought your mother, and they have lived for 60 years, 70 years without a problem. So that's what I join him to say, what an woman. But be careful. We will not remain on those dogmas as he's putting, and will not progress. The world is changing and changing too rapidly. He made a point there. The people who need that, the people who can follow up. There are some of these people, Mr. Elena, who are complaining that there's this problem. They don't know because it's not their era. They don't know what we are saying. It doesn't tie to them. So why we are thinking that we could do better? Let us not wipe out history. Those people have lived their lives and they have built. Cameroon is where it is today. No matter how the imperfection that we have, but it is somewhere. What we should be looking is that we could perfect it above them. We will not just dismiss them. Time, Mr. Lena talk of time. Time is a factor in development. If you don't master time, you're a poor man. Because 5 minutes late in a project, you lose 10 billion. 5 minutes late. So, Mr. Fru, we will not allow Cameroon at the whim and caprices of your party. They take their time to do when Cameroon is burning. What we are saying is that where we find ourselves now, we could do better if your party could do better. I keep on sending you back to them that we could do better when we manage our time effectively.
Okay, before we take the press review, let's conclude on this first topic. We are concluding on this first topic, and each speaker we have a minute to conclude before we take the press review. I begin with you, Lena. What is your last word on this first topic?
I would like to tell Cameroonians and the youth out there that we could do better and we could construct a better Cameroon without the present regime in place. However, we need to constitute ourselves, fight and abstain from the social delinquencies, moral decadence, and we could be the better youth of Africa. Why not? Let's take the leadership. Let's stop this thing called being apolitical. Everyone is a politician by nature. Man is a political animal. Therefore, I encourage those youths, and we are working and thinking of a platform beyond partisan politics, so that we could take up the challenge and challenge those who have led our country to the disastrous abyss that it is today. And the civil service in Cameroon could be restructured with a new system, a new form of government that we are vying for. Our argument will win if we are in a bond, like a swarm of bees, like a hive of termites, that we come together to face these people than individuals, than myself as an individual speaking here. So that is what we are thinking. Without that, we will continue living our individualistic life in this chaos, which will not help anybody. Let's bond ourselves together and face these people, argue, change the system, put a new form of government, put those people that their idea reflect the aspiration of the youth. All will be well. That is the message I have for the youth.
All will be well. Full Godfrey, your last word on this first topic. What are you advising civil servants?
The advice I would through to the civil servants, I would tell them, when the first Cameroonian have speak, you have to know that things are not going the way they are supposed to. So you have to take your steps. Yes, you have been given that opportunity to serve Cameroonians. Serve them. Don't think that you are the first or the last person to serve at that post. Do it in such a way that tomorrow, if you are not there, let somebody who is coming after you, they will tell him at that post there was somebody.
There was Fabrice Lena. A while ago you said that if he was made minister, that he will be coming to work at 2 p.m.
Yeah, I just imagine.
No, stop imagining. Stop imagining. Please. Don't imagine me in that kind of thing.
If he is not
you can
having,
my record.
If he is not having a conscious and a humanitarian president as His Excellency President Paul Biya, who will always call up for Cameroonians to know, to say, if you are there, just know that you are there because you are the people are the other way. And to call them their attention to stay and do what they are supposed to do on the time they are supposed to do what they have been called to do. So what if I'm calling for the civil servants today, I will tell them that you will see during the COVID we have had many crises, but your salaries have been paid. Nobody grumbled because he was late on the 25th. He was supposed to pay. But if the head of state can stand because he does not want his civil servants to suffer, why is it that they will be suffering the innocent citizens? And I think
they are there to serve the people.
They are there to serve
civil
the people.
servants are there to serve the people.
And I will say yes, CPDM is a party close to.
No, we shall be talking CPDM in the course of our second topic.
And I think
we are coming to CPDM.
Choosing the CPDM.
We are coming to the CPDM party. Your last word, Hassan Sama, on this topic.
Yeah, I want to thank Mr. Fru for his campaign. I don't know which campaign he is already on. Telling you because choosing CPDM
because
I don't know which campaign is already on.
He says that
you know them that they are very,
the CPDM is always doing campaigns. It's always on campaigns.
You know them that they know they have the secret. They are the one who master everything. There may be election next year. You may never know. Even 1 month day. So I want to thank you for opening up. I want now to tell the other parties that don't sleep. They are preparing something to strike at any time to you people.
2020.
Yeah, I have heard Mr. Lena. I think that Mr. Lena has taken he's with us now. He has taken the right path. Let us see what we can do to pull out these people who have caused a lot of damage to us instead of whipping. I want to congratulate him for that. You know, I'm just a neutral person on the platform. And then I've heard my dear brother, Mr. Fru, talking of
but there is a popular saying that if you don't do politics,
politics
will do you.
Yeah, I've heard my brother, Mr. Fru, talking of somebody. Humanitarian, I think he's talking of Pobia.
Yeah, President Biya.
I bet that is the very humanist who declared war on his people, which he is pursuing with earnest endeavors that they must kill them.
Declare which war?
The war in southern Cameroon.
No, if you
I'm not asking. It's not
there's no permission. We are going to because if he permits you, he will also permit me.
Yes. Then don't mind. He may have something. Then I have also heard my dear brother, Mr. Fru, talking of a president who was elected by people. But I want to remind him that the president have been elected by 90%, and 2 months after, they were overthrown by the very people who elected them.
Exactly.
So we cannot count only on that. It's not like examination. They say examination is the truth of knowledge. I think that we all know. Learn like this year, he has not gone to ENAM. Doesn't mean that he cannot go. He has been teaching people who have gone to ENAM.
Exactly.
I am sure if you are here, you would have done better. But you have taught people who have gone to places. So it's not the truth. So, Mr. Fru, don't count on what you see called election. There's a lot that we are not discussing it now. Then
the advice that you are giving to civil servants.
I'm giving to civil servants is that not only to civil servants. I'm giving to civil servants and to the government. The civil servants are helping the state to stand, and so you must respect the civil servant. Why they respect the state? The civil servant must be patriotic. You will not apply for a position. In your application, you will say everything good. You are ready to work even on Sundays, 24 hours. And immediately you are given the position to do something. You no longer come. You are not being patriotic. And you turn around to blame. There are people who have abandoned jobs in Cameroon here, who are Europe, who are criticizing the regime, and they are taking salaries. How do we go from there. So I think that civil servants should be patriotic. I prefer to come here and criticize the government and working for the same government than
finally, it's a good thing. It's a good thing for the President of the Republic to call for a civil service council.
As I earlier said, it is a good thing to call, but it should not remain at the level of rhetorics. That's all.
Yes, I just
you wanted to add something.
I wanted just to add something to our brother, because maybe when we will be speaking, our televiewers outside there will not understand him. So I want just to rectify that. If a call for a war have been made, war
on
yes, it was not a war against the people, but against criminals. And whosoever can carry a gun against the state, against the noble citizens, is a criminal, no matter where you are coming from. So that one should be understood.
Okay.
So just to say, any war, no war have ever been called against people, but if it is a war against criminals, I myself,
criminals are not human beings, are not people.
I just believe,
because
please, don't do
you speak with a lot of ambiguity.
Let me tell you,
a lot of
don't behave as if you accept to cooperate
when you want to defend your belly
against the state.
Say it without confusing the people with your language that does not have any understanding and comprehension.
To carry gun, to carry an arm in Cameroon, you need an authorization, and if you have that without an authorization and you misuse it, you become a criminal. And I think Cameroon state and no citizen in Cameroon would tolerate it, because by doing that you make people to be in insecurity. And if a war have been declared, the war have been declared against criminals,
not against the people.
Not against the people.
Okay, we have heard you. The time for us to have our press review. The press review before we come back.
Good evening. The newspaper stand had a rich package for us this week, as we will soon find out. The Star newspaper this week speaks about government's alternative power sources drive laudable. Newswatch reports on UK appoints conflict experts High Commission to Cameroon. Meanwhile, PM demands effective integration of ex-Amba Boko Haram fighters. Life gradually returning to Kmer after arrest of Amba General Nokia. Eco Sante this week reports Dr. Manauda Malaji takes control over the vaccine which is expected in Cameroon in order to curb the coronavirus pandemic. The Voice newspaper speaks about 16 women youths who rot in Kondengui since 2015, while Human Rights Watch alerts United Nations about separatist atrocities. These stories and more, you'll find them in the Voice newspaper this week. The Guardian poll scans to top outrage as suspected Amba fighters kidnap, torture female journalists. Minagbo's take COVID-19 fight to Yaoundé market. 4 arrested for allegedly issuing fake COVID-19 test results. The media questions what if Bia took the first vaccine shot, COVID-19 screening in schools, while Professor Nalova Lyonga leads by example. You get details of these stories and others in this newspaper. The Guardian poll speaks of Nincho's strike Osi again, says Osi represents only himself in the Social Democratic Front Party, accuses him of treason, calls for his resignation. 15 students arrested in Yaoundé for alleged group sex, and the diaspora Ambazonian leaders straight accusations, insults. The Eden this week talks about 80 Slege Hamal hovers over Cameroon for inability to respect reporting schedules. 2018 reports still awaited in 2021, and Honorable Ndamjoya re-echoes return to root causes of Anglophone crises. The media still comes back to speak about ghastly explosions in Equatorial Guinea. BR rushes 2 ministers to battle with assistance, and Musonge's commission swings into actions. Le Jour speaks about the sex activities in the school milieu in Ekunu in Yaoundé. The Guardian Post reports a French Foreign Affairs Minister who advocates dialogue with separatists. Canada condemns amber excesses on civilians in northwest and southwest regions. 17,000 Cameroonians die of heart-related disease yearly on the health slot in the Guardian Post this week. These stories and more of it, you get them in the Guardian Post. L'Emergence report Obiangemas and his response to Biya's gesture in the crisis that plagued Guinea this week. And the Post newspapers talks of Osiswe, I did not visit the presidency in 2018. The Post caption this week, we are tired of our children giving birth to children. These stories and others, you get them in the Post. Quotidien reports that the COVID-19 is affecting the economy of Cameroon drastically. The Guardian Post captions, Biya maintains Elinia Cavalier as the president of the National Assembly and the Senate respectively. Population jubilates as ruleless Amber General, 7 fighters killed. Ghost absentee civil servants swell government spending on salaries. Antique a quick South Region's mayor, council staff with ICT skills. We end the newspaper stories this week with Le Jour, which reports about sport, where the paper questions why, after choosing the players for the upcoming national championship, Choupo-Moting's name is not found anywhere on the list. These are the stories that the newspaper gathered for us this week. Until I come your way again, welcome to the Republican.
We say thank you to Lum Colette for that brilliant press review. Lum Colette, of course, a journalist working with Camdis Television. Let's come back now and have our second topic of the day. We are talking the CPDM party. We are talking 36 years of the CPDM. It was created on the 24th of March 1985. We were in Bamenda during that creation. 36 years after, what is the balance sheet? Can we be proud of the CPDM 36 years after, Fabrice Lena?
Well, I am induced to talk about the CPDM party because it's the topic that you've chosen, and I will not question your choice of the topic. But if it were not the question, I wouldn't have talked about it, because the CPDM party as a political party is a complete failure with nothing to write home about after 36 years old. We cannot imagine that the CPDM political party was created in Bamenda, and today Bamenda is on fire. Bamenda, comparatively with the other towns and cities of the northwest and southwest region, is one of the hard-hit places in as much as the Anglophone crisis is concerned. And the president of the republic, who says he is the president of the people, who is the first citizen of the state, he is the national chairman of the CPDM political party, has never stepped his foot into that part of the country where his political party was born since 2016, when the crisis began. And it's appalling that the same zone gave him highest vote during presidential elections in 2000.
You know that is the funds of funds now.
That is why we are saying that there is an irony, a paradox, a dichotomy, a discrepancy, a gap between the realities of what is happening in Cameroon and what is being told to Cameroonians, especially the common man, the naive Cameroonians, about CPDM political party and its leadership. It's appalling. How do you explain the fact that Mr. Tabi Clarkson, CPDM, has been in power for 36 years? And where the party was born, Mr. Tabi Clarkson, those people who went to Bamenda conference hall went at CNU, they came out at CPDM.
Yes.
Those people are there in Bamenda, cannot rest because of gunshots. Some of them have exiled themselves, some of them are dead. and the president of the republic is unable to heed to the call of the people for a sincere dialogue that will call everybody on table because I will come and say something contrary to what he wants to listen, it doesn't make him more Cameroonian than me. It doesn't make Mr. Fru more Cameroonian than me because he comes here to sing the song of the CPDM and praise President Pobia as a humanitarian and the greatest president on earth. I will tell President Pobia, you have failed. You are an elderly man. I respect you so much based on your age, based on your generation, but on your leadership as the president of Cameroon and president of CPDM, you have failed the Cameroonian people. The expectations of the people to the CPDM party is a total failure. How do you explain, Mr. Tabi Clarkson, that there is massive voters apathy in Cameroon nowadays?
So for 36 years, no successes?
When we talk of successes, Mr. Tabi Clarkson, every society have to grow. There are two ways a society grows. We talk of collective growth and individual growth. In Cameroon, it is individual growth of Cameroonians' personal effort that is leading to gradual emancipation of Cameroon, not the collective effort of the party in power or the state in power. Because if the two were working together, Cameroon should have been a middle income country, perhaps like Tanzania or other African countries. You are not answering my
question, Lena.
I am trying to come there.
You know, we don't have much time.
Yes, no, we don't have much time, but you should allow me to express myself. In as much as you allow the other panelists to express themselves.
No, you have been talking for the past 10
minutes. Thank you very much, Mr. Tabi Clarkson. I am saying that the CPDM regime has not delivered any public merit, good and services to Cameroonians up to expectation. They have failed the Cameroonian people.
No success.
Woefully. No successes recorded because the degree of failure is greater than the degree of successes. And when the degree of failure is greater than the degree of successes, man's mind is oriented to pinpoint failures than successes. Man's mind is very discomfortable when successes are less than.
Can you pick a success?
Mr. Tabi Clarkson, I cannot recognize any success because what we see in Cameroon in 2021 is a dusty Yaoundé. It is a lack of hospitals. It is electricity blackout day in, day out. It is schools that have not been renovated and so on and so forth, Mr. Tabi Clarkson. Why will you talk about successes? When Cameroonians are traveling out of Cameroon to
Full Godfrey, you have the floor. Full Godfrey, we are talking CPDM 36 years after failures and successes. You just heard Lena talking that there has not been any success in 36 years.
No,
a complete failure on the part of the CPDM. Do you agree?
No, you know, it's good to listen to him and listen to him to the end. Yes, PAP. I don't know when the party was created, but for all what I know.
But you can ask him. You can ask him when the party was created.
No, the party was created. No, it's good that you should know. You should learn. It was created in 1991.
It was created in 1991. Okay.
1991.
Okay.
But I think it's only in 2019 that I know about PAP.
Yeah.
Yes, so just to say that's not even a party we should be talking about.
Okay, we are talking the CPDM.
We are talking about CPDM.
Because they are in power. Yes. Because they are in power.
What I would tell Mr. Lena is that he should
tell Cameroonians, so not me.
Yes.
You are talking to Cameroonians,
yes,
not me.
let me tell Cameroonians that they should know.
Yeah.
That Mr. Lena is just confused.
Yeah.
He is confused. He mix up CPDM with government. That's one error that he's just making, and it is catastrophic.
I will solicit from your host.
To be
please allow him to talk.
Please allow him
to clarify us. Please allow him to.
If he can make a distinction between CPDM and the government.
Yes, he's coming. No, he's coming to that.
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
he's coming to
because that. When I say he is confusing between CPDM
and the government,
party and the government and the management of Cameroon in general, I want to say this. You know, Cameroon has more than 300 constituency. How do they call it? Arrondissement. And everything that
subdivision
has subdivision and province included. And when they're talking about legislative or municipal elections, we have many parties that come in, and all those parties one or another will gain maybe a subdivision to manage. One or another will have maybe a whole province to manage.
Maybe a council to manage.
A council to manage. That's where we talk about party. Now, from there, when it is divided like this, we can go in there and see what have been done in which in each of the council or in each of the province where a political party is leading. That's where you can really judge the political party. But when you hear my co-panelists speaking here, it seems as Cameroon have been hijacked by the CPDM, and all the subdivision are owned by him. That's where I said,
what has the CPDM done for 36 years now?
Yes, what have CPDM have done here, we have to look globally, because there are certain elements that if it is, we have to divide. We should not only be looking at CPDM.
What
we have to look about
36 years?
Please, you will allow me to speak.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Sorry.
You are not a moderator, yes, sir.
What I want to say is, in the generally, you can see when we talk about freedom of speech in Cameroon, that's a decision that was supposed to come from the head, not from a subdivision. And here we are.
Are you saying that freedom of speech is a CPDM making?
No, but if you hear Mr. Lena here, I cannot even count how many times he have been insulting authority. But I guarantee to him that...
So CPDM is authority. So CPDM is government.
No, I'm saying that when I'm talking, is because the person, the authority, that's the first personality of Cameroon, is from the CPDM.
Okay.
And if he can guarantee the freedom
of expression,
for all the Cameroonians,
it's a special grace.
It's more than even a grace.
Yeah.
Because today,
we need to go down.
I know for you coming here, you were angry and you had things to say. They said somebody silent is more dangerous than somebody who can express his mind.
Yeah.
And today, when you be living here, at least some of your frustration have been expressed out. And you know, if you see, as I always said, our president, His Excellency President Paul Biya, is somebody who listens to these programs that we shared here. You understand? And he is so attached to Cameroonians.
Is that the only victory?
And when you see,
success of the
him expressing himself, tomorrow you see some decision as this of the civil service, the civil servants.
They were appointed Lena.
He's saying he won the counseling. He won the council for the civil servant to be met up. Is because some of them came and they cry as he is crying here. That's something. That's something to be praised.
Is he also
you understand?
He's also
so we have to just look at all those things. If you look at Cameroon today compared to other countries, even in terms of development, you will see that Cameroon is far better.
So CPDM is the one developing the country, is that?
No, when I'm talking about, you see, when I'm talking about CPDM, I want to talk about the vision of the president, what he wants Cameroon to be. Because if we cannot talk about, if we want to talk about Cameroon in general, it means we want to talk in the manière sectorielle. C'est-à-dire que we want to look at Cameroon divided into parts. At that moment, many parties are going to involve. And I want to tell our televiewers that when we are talking about the what CPDM have done for the past 36 years, we should not look at Cameroon in general, because when they are talking about the president Paul Biya, and if we want to talk about him as the national president of please let me land as the national president of the CPDM, we have to look at what have been there for the general Cameroonians, not as the sectorial, because at the level of sector there are many parties who are involved in one another way.
Full Godfrey, maybe just for 30 seconds. So
yes,
you answer my question.
Seconds,
you answer my question in 30 seconds.
Yes.
The question is this. Maybe I'll ask it in French. They always say that CPDM parti proche du pouvoir or parti au pouvoir. What do you prefer?
Mr. Tabi, to be proche to somebody does not mean that you are that thing. Yes, you can be you can be proche. That you can be near a food and you not even eat the food. You understand? Once you are on power, you cease to belong to CPDM, and now you are there to serve. You are now to serve the entire Cameroonians.
Okay,
and when we want to talk about CPDM, let us talk about CPDM as a party, not as as the government.
Okay. Hassan Sama, the CPDM party, 36 years after. You are not a militant. We have just 1 year. But tell us, can we say that the CPDM has done it in 36 years?
36 years is a very long time for someone to wave it. Like Lennon wanted to wave it. I'm not sure Lennon up to 36 years. But he's not useless. He has ups and downs. He is living. 36 years means a lot in a country with the type of system that we are running, the type of tribes that we are running. It means a lot. And so I will not buy the idea of Mr. Lennon that for 36 years nothing has happened. A lot has happened. A lot still needs to happen. What is a political party? It's an association started by one person. People are there, and they have a project. It's not like a project we do in management. And what is the project of a political party? To get to power, and manage the power hang to it as we say in Africa.
Yes.
But that is not what we say elsewhere. I mean Africa, hang to it as much as possible. The CPDM has succeeded in getting to power, hanging to power. The CPDM has succeeded in managing power with other parties. When you go to parliament, you go to government, councils, senate, you have them. They are there to manage power. So those are the successes that I've had. But the question that Lennon will ask, and so what? Which I too will ask from the civil society. And what has changed? What has not changed is that the life of the common man has not changed because of 36 years in power. And I keep on reminding my ever friend Leonard, we are not here to whipping. It is already a truism that things are not moving. What do? We have opportunities, as he even earmarked here. We have an opportunity, maybe from next year. I don't know when they want to surprise Cameroonians with election, and like we could do it then. On the negative part of the CPDM and as a party, you see the way it has been very difficult for Mr. Fru to differentiate between CPDM being the state and being a political party. It is because they have mixed up everything and they no longer even know, which is why when somebody insults them, when Mr. Nganyamding insults them professionally, they go to party and sanction him. When he saw them in their party, they go professionally and sanction him because they are unable to make up what it is, the dichotomy between the two. That's one. The second one is that all the parties that are existing, the CPDM needs them to exist, to live. Because it is when SDF decides to go for an election knowing fully well that they cannot make it, they accompany the party.
So you are saying multi-party politics is a making of the CPDM?
Yeah.
Is it a making of the CPDM?
I'm coming.
Okay.
Be careful, your questions are dangerous. When a political party or opposition, I don't want to, let me not limit it to SDF, goes in for election, knowing fully well that all the stakes have not been taken into consideration, that one party has already covered everything, blocked all the avenues for you to succeed. It means that what they are doing is they are accompanying somebody to give an impression to the world that there's something when there's nothing. Thirdly, I've heard Mr. Fruya in his anger, which may be justified, that there's no need to discuss our PAP. You are becoming a Mesanga Nyamding.
No, I said.
Listen, let me go. You are becoming a Mesanga Nyamding because all these political parties are created by the state, and where the CPDM cannot distinguish the difference between CPDM and the state. And so, if you are saying they don't matter very much, you are challenging the power.
Okay, I would like us to come back, Hassan Sama.
I'm coming back. I come back now to tell you that I'm on the negative part of the CPDM. The CPDM has succeeded in one thing. One.
At least there's a success.
They have navigated the success.
Okay.
Hanging to power.
Yeah.
That's the first success. What they have succeeded to do, which is negative, is that they have balkanized all the other political parties into tribes, clans, regions, and the like. But the question that I'm asking them, Mr. Fru is here, like a porte-parole, is, will you people survive after Pobia?
Okay, that is a question that certainly Mr. Full Godfrey will answer. But we have 11 more minutes before we conclude the program this evening. Fabrice, Elena, we are concluding on this another topic. Tell us, the CPDM, according to you, has done nothing, and you have been blaming the national president, blaming the government, saying that the CPDM and the government is the same thing.
Well, I want that let the authorities be Cameroonians and those listening, not take me for someone who just castigates, but someone who is constructive enough. Because on several issues, national issues affecting our country, as a representative of a political party, we have taken our proposals to different institutions of this country, and we have never been caught up. We have been there as representatives of political parties and of our people at our own level, and when we come up with proposals, government don't take it into consideration. Now, Mr. Tabi Clarkson, how do you explain it that in a country run by a political party that was never elected? Let Cameroonians be aware, be reminded, because this need to be in their mind and memory that CPDM was born out of CNU, a single political party designed by late President Amadou Ahidjo. And CPDM was just transformed. CNU was just transformed to CPDM.
Yeah.
And in the advent of multipartism, CPDM accepted multipartism under duress in the 1990 multipartism laws. And the tripartite conference that was supposed to, for opposition political parties, civil society organization, and Cameroonians to define the fate of the basis of multipartism in Cameroon was never effected. This has led Cameroon to be in the shadow of unbalanced multi-party politics and competitive politics that has led to where we are today.
It's not
if Mr. Hassan is saying that there are successes of the CPDM, or Mr. Fu is saying that there are successes of the CPDM, I wanted them to humbly point one. CPDM have succeeded to put this infrastructure. CPDM have succeeded to groom these Cameroonians. CPDM have succeeded to nurture this ideologically, infrastructurally, in all the space that we are expecting, not to come here and bring cacophony of ideas that do not tie. And he talks of someone being confused, where the confusion and cradle, the bedrock of confusion, is the CPDM man trying to defend themselves of being successful for the past 38 years, where he himself 36 years, when themselves are victims of their own failures. It's a sad thing, Mr. Tabi Clarkson.
Okay.
On a conclusion note, I would say, Cameroonians, that CPDM is a party that is functioning with mechanisms of state apparatus. CPDM, like many political parties in French African countries are not distinguished with the state and with the diplomacy of the state and the political party and world order. They function as they are functioning. Cameroonian youths, like I say, have a big challenge in front of them.
Okay, we have heard
We
you.
of the PAP have a big challenge.
We have heard you. We are coming back to you.
The PAP.
Yeah, we have heard you.
We will challenge the CPDM
We have heard you.
to a debate, to elections that the conditions are free and fair, competitive, like a football game.
Full Godfrey, your last word on this issue, on this topic.
Yes,
CPDM is not the state. You said it.
Yes, CPDM is not a state. CPDM is a party as all other party, and as a party, I think the first objective is to be onto power, and I think we have been succeeding. Yes, other party. Yes, I would just call them to at least to work hard.
To copy the example of the
Copy
CPDM.
the example. If they are there, maybe they can stay there. I wanted to correct something because he said a party must when we are on the part. That's maybe the example of Cameroon. For the CPDM to be on power for long cannot exist somewhere else. Yes, in the other areas, the same party. It depends on their policy. Because you will not tell me that as Macron is there, the day he's leaving, they will tell his party not to go in for election. No. So I want just to call the other party to work hard, and when they will be there,
the PAP to work hard.
The PAP, yes, to work hard, so that the day they will be on power, at least they will show. They will show how they can do. But I'm just there is something that I will regret from that party, because if they have been existing since 1991 and none of the election they have been taking part of, I would say party should not only exist on paper, but party should be active on the.
They should go in for elections.
It is a deep regret that CPDM don't train their communicators to be aware of political activities in their country. PAP participated in 2011 presidential elections where Justice Aya was a candidate. No, I am not challenging you for a one-on-one debate. I'm just reminding you of the things that you forget to say. And then that was the first item. That was the first item. The second item is this: power conservatism should go alongside with the form of government. We should not be in democracy and talk of power conservatism ad infinitum. If we are in a monarchical system or constitutional monarchy, we should talk of that. But we cannot be in democracy and we are talking of power conservatism to stay in power forever. We should talk of rotative politics. Like in Ghana, like in Nigeria, and in South Africa. Please, a single party do not. No, it's not a party.
Okay, we shall have
conditions for elections are not
Lena.
Conditions for elections are never.
We shall organize another debate for that. We are on democracy. We shall organize another debate for that. Please, 1 minute as we conclude on this topic, please.
I will call the attention of the CPDM that do unto others as you want done unto you. When you spend your time blocking other political parties from existing, because political parties have to exist through demonstrations, through meetings and the like. If each time you cannot allow them, you use the administration not to allow them exist. I hope that when tomorrow they will come, things turn, the tides turn, you will be able to stand the test of time.
Okay.
For Mr. Lennon. I'm here. I'm a neutral person. I'm giving advice. He has thought that he was calling on the youth. They should join hands and see how they can throw out this dictatorship. Tell the very youth that it is not talking. Okay. It is registering on a
I want us to discuss maybe 1 minute with you know that. Do you know Samuel Eto'o? The footballer Samuel Eto'o.
Yeah.
Do you know that he has been made doctor?
I'm aware.
You are aware.
Yeah.
Can we say that's a good thing? If we can have some images of Samuel Eto'o, it would be nice. Samuel Eto'o being made doctor because of his actions, can we say it's good for Cameroon?
Yeah, when you allow it open this way, it can be highly misleading. Some people may think that Eto'o has gone to school and has acquired an academic certificate. No, I hear Eto'o left school. Maybe he was incapable of continuing from 3 or like that, but he has excelled very well in the other field. What he has had is called
Doctor Honoris
Causa.
Yeah,
that is for a particular achievement that he has achieved. I think it should be football, and maybe humanitarian action, because he has been very humanistic in as far as concerned outside that not Cameroonian. Because what is happening nowhere outside, I've never heard him pass there, but I've heard him giving things out. If that be the case, fine and good.
He was giving
and that is now I take this advantage to tell the world that it is not only these people who are carrying certificate left and right who are supposed to be respected. Somebody like Fosso Victor, who died, all these millionaires who died in Cameroon, who never went to school, was supposed to be teaching universities because they have something that they can give to the public. Why do we hang on to empty certificate that people are
a word of congratulations to someone.
So I'm congratulating him, but I am reminding him that is not an example to the youth in Cameroon.
Okay, that's what you are saying. Full Godfrey, can we say it's a nice thing that Samuel Eto'o is Dr. Samuel Eto'o henceforth is honoris causa. It's important to make mention of it.
Yes, it's something that we have to really congratulate him and even congratulate those who recognize his effort, because he's somebody who have been doing a lot, and he is even an example for some Cameroonians who think that what they are doing is minimized. I think the President of the Republic just granted a decision that all those bike riders are supposed to be professional, which simply means you can be a bike rider, and if you ride
and you do your job well,
and you do your job well, tomorrow you'll be a doctor. So Samuel Eto'o is just,
he has made a country proud again.
He has made a country proud again, and I think whatsoever a Cameroonian is doing, even if you are selling in the market, do it well. Tomorrow you can be a doctor in Cameroon.
We say thank you for coming, gentlemen. Lena will not say anything on Samuel Eto'o, but I know the points of the view of Fabrice Lena. We say thank you very much for coming, gentlemen, and thank you equally televiewers for watching the program. Take another appointment same time next week on the same TV channel. Today we say may God continue to bless the Republic.